You know what? GTRs, Supras, and some K cars, yes, some K cars have in common, they will earn you money over time, which kind of got me thinking, what about the German flavor of cars? Can they do the same? Maybe something M-tastic that you can buy today, rip on, and sell once you get bored? Or a little pocket rocket that is an extreme screamer? Yeah, doesn't it sound a little too good to be true? Because it probably isn't. Buy these cars today before the secret gets out and you can make money enjoying them. It's backed by science. Just like if you subscribe down here, you'll become part of the Ideal fam. So subscribe and let's first chat about the little future classic Volkswagen. All right, when I say R32, what do you think of? This? No, not Godzilla. Nissan isn't German, but Volkswagen is, and they make a pretty killer R32. Now, this ain't no standard Golf. In fact, the R32 isn't even badged as a Golf because, well, it's badass. Sure, it does kind of look similar to a Golf if you close one eye and squint with the other, but that's where the similarities end. The R32 has a bigger engine, all-wheel drive, and a limited production run. And that bigger engine comes thanks to its VR6 power plant, put in both the earlier generation of R32 and even the later ones. Which, let us know down below. Do you like the Mark IV or the Mark V R32 better? I'm really curious to see what you guys think. And really the difference between the two comes in styling. Earlier models are much more blocky, and the later versions are much more rounded. But probably the biggest difference comes in what transmission each car uses. The earlier Mark IV models use a manual transmission, while the 08 models use a DSG transmission for those glorious farts. And no matter which one you get, there were only 5,000 cars produced. So, we know values will be going up, especially with clean, low mileage examples. But with just over 10,000 bucks, you can get yourself an 08 model with just over 100,000 miles. Keep it clean and maintain it, enjoy it, and use it for a few months or a year or two and sell it for a profit. And that same exact thing can be said for a manual E82 BMW 1 Series. Everything from the badass 1M all the way to the rather respectable 128i. Most of the E82 lineup was offered with a manual transmission. And if you want to help save the manuals, check out our best-selling Ideal T. Unfortunately, it was an option that most first owners didn't opt for. The manual transmission, not the Save the Manuals T. And as sad as that is for you and me, the few cars that rolled off the factory with the silky smooth manual transmission are just incredible shifting and fun cars to drive. The balanced chassis and the small architecture really make these cars apex killers. And so you can push it through an autocross and still use it Monday through Friday to daily drive to work or school or whatever you do. And whichever flavor E82 that you choose, you're gonna come out on top. The Mac Daddy 1M will set you back roughly 85,000 bucks. Luckily, you can pick up the lesser models for way cheaper, like this 128i with under 100,000 miles for just over 10K. And from those two to really anything in between, the E82 BMW 1 Series with a manual transmission will not depreciate. In fact, they're currently appreciating faster than some stocks. But if you want to learn how to pick stocks, go check out our other channel, Ideal Money. And if you want another car that's on a bull run, it's appreciating like crazy, you want to check out the Audi TT, which is kind of like Girth's younger brother. Back in the day, the Audi TT started out as a concept at the 1995 Frankfurt Motor Show, and the crowd absolutely loved the unique styling of the TT. So much so that they decided to throw it into production. Not only was the TT very different from its competition, but it had a ton of different configurations. Auto or manual, coupe or convertible, 1.8 or 2 liters of power, front or all-wheel drive, which was quattro. Each combination was offered with a short wheelbase and a low center of gravity to make the car handle like it was on rails. Except the very first year had a tendency to snap oversteer. So Audi added a spoiler to make it have more downforce, and that seemed to fix the problem. But I have to think that most of those snap oversteers were driver error, you know, the nut behind the wheel. And now, since those first year ones were sorted, no matter which combo you choose, the light curb weight really aided to the sports driving experience in all conditions. And considering that you can pick one up for less than 9 grand with less than 100,000 miles, might just make this the best bargain on the list because, well, the secret isn't out yet. But if you like BMWs a little bit more and you're a BMW fanboy or whatever, well, the secret might be out on this one. But there's still room to drive it for free or even make money, especially if you want to go topless, because the BMW M Roadster kind of fits the bill. And this M Roadster is based off the beautifully balanced Z3 platform. But the main problem with the Z3 was its power, or, well, how do I say, lack thereof, as it only had 139 horsepower in its base 1.9 liter engine. Sure, it was like a Supra, but both need more power. So what did BMW do? Well, really what any enthusiast would do. They put a 3.2 liter inline 6-cylinder motor under the hood, fitted wider rear arches that fit bigger tires, and threw the power through a manual transmission with a limited slip differential. This put the new M Roadster in a different class, and it's now punching with the likes of Mercedes SLK and Porsche Boxster. But one thing about the other two that we just mentioned is how quickly those cars are appreciating. Just a few years ago, you could pick any of these up for less than 10 grand. But today, you're looking at roughly double that with low miles. And heck, the M Coupe, which is literally the same car, just a coupe version, prices are easily double or triple that of the Roadster. So chances are the Roadster isn't gonna be going down in value anytime soon. And same can be said about this next car. But we've covered Audi and now BMW. So what about Mercedes? If you got the cash, you gotta look into the Mercedes CLK63 AMG Black Series. And the Black Series is a name only used for absolute performance beasts. And when Mercedes announced that they would be doing a CLK version of the Black Series, people went nuts. The SLK55 AMG Black Series was a brute, but the bigger, badder CLK63 AMG Black Series promised to be more brutal. Man, did they deliver. The CLK63 gave a brutish 500 horsepower and plenty of torque on tap to shred the rear tires in mere seconds. Not only were they great driving cars, they also had a limited production run of only 700 vehicles. So what does that mean for you and me? Prices are going to skyrocket. From new, they cost customers 135,000 bucks. But today, you can pick one up for just over 95,000. And you really want to keep an eye on these because yes, it costs a lot to get into, but they're about to go to the moon. But it's also true that Porsches are following this trend too, especially with the 996 911, one that I'm pretty fond of. And because the 996 911 shares design cues with the first Porsche Boxster, many Porsche enthusiasts initially wrote the entire generation off. Prices plummeted, and to this day, it's still the cheapest version of 911 for sale. But only as of recently, people have rekindled their love for the 996 as it drives like any other 911. And do you wanna know why? Because, well, it is a 911. But the 996 911 can be had for the price of a used Camry. So you tell me, if you had just over 17 grand, would you buy a 52,000 mile manual 996 Carrera Cabriolet? Or would you rather spend $2,000 more and get this Camry? I'll take the Porsche. You can have the Camry. And if you want the Porsche too, hit that like button so I know, especially at the rate that they're appreciating, which is as nearly as fast as the E36 M3 can go to 0 to 60. And of course, we all know and love many generations of BMW's infamous M3s. And a testament to that is the E30 M3s. Only a few years ago, they were trading hands for like 10 to 15,000 bucks. And now, look at them. While the E30 has been hit the hardest with appreciation, other newer models are seeing the start of similar trends, and there is no better example of this than the E36 M3. These were the cheapest and probably least loved of the M3s at the time, and I've actually owned 3 of them, and I think the main reason is because the bodywork was the exact same as the regular 328i. But the E36 is now getting the appreciation that it deserves, and that's because of the balanced chassis, that gutsy inline 6-cylinder matched with stellar reliability. The E36, it doesn't disappoint. And for that reason, I truly believe that they're worth all of what they're trading hands for today. Like this black vert with 137,000 miles on it for 12K. Give it a few years and it's gonna be worth double. But get them while you can before these prices reach supercar territory. And if you want a supercar with a timeless design, unparalleled luxury, big old naturally aspirated V8 in one appreciating package, I'd steer you towards the Mercedes SLS AMG. Now, If you get the coupe, not only do you get one of the best looking GT supercars of all time, you can get one for a bargain too. While the SLS Roadster is a great car too, you'd buy the coupe for those gold wing doors. Let's name a few other cars with gold wing doors, shall we? Mercedes 300 SL, Pagani Huayra, Gumpert Apollo, which are all very high dollar cars. But luckily for the SLS AMG, it can sit in your garage for just pennies in comparison to those cars. And they just don't build them like they did. You see, the replacement for the SLS, the AMG GT, ditched the naturally aspirated V8 for a bi-turbo V8, and it also ditched the doors, which gave the SLS its character. Examples of the SLS AMG are going for over 150 grand today, but most are still selling under 2. And I think in a couple years, you're gonna look at that as a bargain. Mainly because I feel like most people underappreciate how amazing of a vehicle it was. So, are you interested in making money with money? Yeah, me too. And do you wanna do it with cars? Yeah, me too. Which one of these 8 German cars would you buy if I gave you $150,000? Let us know in the comments below. Only time will tell, but with the electric revolution coming faster than you or I want to admit, the prices that cars that are naturally aspirated or have manual transmissions or a V12 or V10 are trading hands for right now, in a couple years, I think hindsight, we're gonna be like, man, I wish you could have bought them for what they were selling for 2 years ago. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here. My name's Brad Danger. This is Ideal Cars. Promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.